Hi, my name is Victoria Roberts-Jamison. This is my final project. I'm an NBCC 2023 Supplemental MFP Fellow. I am part of the Mental Health Counselors Master's Fellowship. My population that I'm working with is older adults. I just wanted to go through kind of some information regarding um, the population, kind of why I chose it. There's going to be a very large influx of people moving that are part of the older adult community, about 60 years, 65 plus years, depending upon what statistics you look at. But it's going to grow to 2.1 billion people by 2050 for people who are 60 years of age and older. There's a lot of kind of varying issues that kind of arise with that population regarding mental health problems and issues, and some of that can stem with people who have been diagnosed with neurocognitive disorders. From my personal experience myself, I've been working in the related field, doing testing for cognition, neurocognition, and a lot of the people that I do testing with are people who are of older age, about 60 years of age and older. And a lot of them have neurocognitive decline. They've been diagnosed with a neurocognitive disorder such as dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and or there isn't a specific diagnosis other than just minor neurocognitive disorder. And so a lot of things that kind of come in play with that is a lot of people can feel isolated. They're going through a lot of changes in relation to family stuff that's going on, grief, and either losing their license or feeling of loss of abandonment if they don't have family. There's a lot of kind of mental health crisis that also go and play with that. And if there's a background of mental health issues from their past, that can also kind of exacerbate some of the other symptoms. There's not a lot of research out there in terms of um, how this population can be helped. There are some studies, but it's fairly limited. So this is a population I definitely want to work with in the hopes that there's going to be more awareness drawn to them for the future. And in addition, one of the reasons why it took me till today to submit this project was because I ended up coming out to San Diego with my sister lives here. It's where I'm originally from. And my mom is of older age and she lives out in Traverse City with me, near me. And my sister and I have been looking at retirement, assisted living, independent living type of places for my mom because she's starting to look at what her options are. And the one question that I continue to ask was what mental health services are provided within their facilities, and none. There's no on-site services, there's no plan in place. One organization said that they do work with someone who comes in and offers those services, but there's no preventative measures by any means. And so that's definitely a concern, especially with having a parent who is of age. And so my impact objective was based around eventually getting, by September 2024 of this year, getting at least 15 older adults, 60 years of age or older, and providing some resources and information for them to combat some of these issues that they might be experiencing. That could be coping skills, occupational therapy tips, statistics. So they might not even know how important and prevalent mental health issues can be when they have received a neurocognitive diagnosis. And so providing that additional information can, with the hopes of kind of easing some of those concerns. So my first goal was to interview a clinical neuropsychologist, occupational therapist, and a licensed counselor to gain additional information regarding older adults and how neurocognitive deficits can impact their mental health. Also collaborate with professionals in the field to create informational guide, flyers, other materials that can be provided back to those older adults as resources. And then in addition, providing those materials to selected professionals within the field, in addition to the Commission on Aging within Grand Traverse County. And that will help to like disperse some of those materials to their clients as well. My goal 4 was to provide a survey or questionnaire once those materials have been disseminated, and then gaining some information back from those individuals from the Commission on Aging or from other community mental health organizations. And if those resources have benefited their clients in any way, shape, or form, what has been helpful, what has not been helpful, and that way those resources can be continuously changed in order to fit those needs. And then going on to kind of a more minute detail, the findings in local research, there's just not a lot of information out there. I did find that there is a community group called BASA, which stands for Bay Area Senior Advocates, and it's a really great group of a multitude of individuals that work in the community, and they they kind of come together a network to see where there might be services missing or what resources could benefit aging adults, creating events, being out in the community and talking to individuals, and just letting them know that there are people out in the community that work for a variety of different organizations that are there to help meet their needs and advocate for them. And so it's a great organization, which I've decided to join. But even though there's a kind of limited mental health professionals, there's just still not a whole lot of training regarding this population. I did come across one online individual, Dr. Regina Kopeff, and she has an organization that provides training, but there's nothing really local within Grand Traverse County that specializes working with older adults from a mental health aspect. So there's not a lot of handouts, and so some of the groups that are out there typically are going to be based around caregiving. When I've kind of talked with many people about what group counseling opportunities are out there for people who've been diagnosed with neurocognitive disorders, there really isn't anything that I've heard of thus far. Hopefully I do find one, or hopefully when I'm in my internship, I can be a part of kind of creating one for the community. And so many of the groups that are out there are typically related for caregivers. And so that's definitely a need within Traverse City. I did want to just kind of mention kind of the common names and terms regarding aging adults. And there's some that I had not heard of before until talking to other individuals. So I figured one of the ones was Silver Tsunami, and another one was Golden Ager, Silver Generation. Those are the ones I hadn't really heard of before, so it was great kind of hearing those new terms. I did collect a very small amount of surveys from clients, and they were able to just kind of provide some feedback regarding resources that they're in need of, and if it could be helpful for them. And though it was small, it did highlight that there is a need for them having resources and information regarding mental health care, in addition to body movement or additional care, which can also lead to better mental health care in the future for themselves. When I mentioned some of the community connections that I've made through this process, one of the meetings I did have early on was with Lori from Commission on Aging. She works there as kind of the director, and then there's a social worker that works there and some other people, and they are definitely on the community pretty frequently. One of the things, there's actually a couple of things that are kind of high on the list is one, providing services for people who are low income. There's not a lot of opportunity for them to gain mental health services, especially if they're low income. In addition, how that ties into lack of transportation. So a lot of individuals are homebound and they live even further out in a rural area. And it's really important that those services and their appointments are made. And in addition, Munson, who's the hospital up in Traverse City, the main one, they have cut off transportation services to those outlying rural areas, which has now presented a problem. So if someone who is typically homebound and they need to have an appointment that's within the city, there's no services for them to get to their appointment. So if they don't have the transportation necessary, then it's not there. So one of the things that Lori and I discussed were providing, eventually down the road, providing actual mobile services where client counselors, therapists could go to the house of an individual and provide those services to homebound individuals. I also met with Carrie, and she's from United We Smile, which is this section of United Way, and it's one of the leading organizations and offices within Traverse City that's one of the only ones around the country. And it's basically provides dental care for free, and that's provided to children, adolescents, older adults, veterans, and they have worked on multiple occasions with people who have neurocognitive issues, who are of older age. In particular, they have a specific Veterans Day where veterans can come in and they are able to get dental care. There is a wait list, but it is a great program that offers, dental care at no cost. And their way they're set up, there's also private rooms. There's a lot of dental chairs that are in the office, but then there's private rooms. So if someone feels more comfortable being in a private space, they really work to cater to their needs. I plan on working meeting with Carol from Navi. She is someone who works with individuals who have been diagnosed with dementia. Colleen from Pace North, it's a facility that has recently opened. I believe there's multiple locations of Pace North across the country. So going to be taking a tour of that and kind of seeing what everything is entailed into helping aging adults either with care and or actual living. Talk to neuropsychologists, occupational therapists, counselors, physical therapists, in order to gain some additional information regarding how neurocognitive issues can impact someone's well-being, and then in turn, how that can impact their mental health. And as I mentioned before, one of the organizations that I'm signing up to be a part of is Bay Area Senior Advocates. And then also I joined Northern Michigan Counselors, which is another great local networking opportunity. These are some of the resources I have created, and at the next meetings, I plan on providing these materials in print. This first one is preventative tips for aging adults. It includes emotional, mental health, and physical health tips in terms of better care for themselves. What are some of the risk factors and signs and symptoms of depression in aging adults? And then this one is going to be additional resources pertaining to books or websites that help kind of challenge their cognition, hope to increase memory abilities. Even if it's not increasing them, it's helping them to maintain what their current level of function as long as possible. Kind of some CBT ways of kind of working through some of that as well. And then another flyer that's going to be based around local and national resources. So this is going to be, the Bay Area Senior Advocates is on there, the VA Clinic and Grand Traverse Health Department, the community organizations for mental health, and then national resources as well. And then I created a bookmark which can be put onto a fridge. And this is something that can be, on a in their home, and provides a quick resource for any crisis information. This includes crisis numbers, also Veterans Crisis Line, and I did include poison control, especially as individuals age, and especially with, someone who has vascular dementia, there could be issues with eyesight. So, if there's any issue regarding what has been ingested, then that number is there as well, either for the client or for the caregiver that might be there that may need it. Through this process has been really amazing. Starting, having the symposium and the phone calls leading up to that, the webinars and meeting people, and then also the AMCA conference and connecting with individuals and forging really great friendships. I think it's wonderful that, able to connect with other people and have this opportunity, which I'm very grateful for. So through my experience, kind of piggybacking off of that, I have a really great mentor, and he's really challenged me to kind of challenge my own beliefs and expectations of myself, and really kind of try and navigate some of my own personal things, but professional ideas. And I've built confidence, built some really great friendships I've mentioned before. Some of the challenges through this process have been like trying to reach out to people within the community, and sometimes those responses don't, you don't get back responses right away. So, staying committed and reaching back out and not feeling defeated. So I think that's a really important thing that I have to really stay very cognizant of. Another thing is time management. So being someone who has ADHD, this is something I'm constantly trying to work on, and staying aware of my time management. So this is not, obviously there's a lot of these things that, have happened over this past, past several months, but these are things that will continue for me to be aware of as I continue as a counselor in training, and then also when I become a counselor in the field. And then connection with other people, that kind of ties into the mentorship and friendship, and learning and training, the wonderful opportunities I've had with that. And growth is a really big thing, because through the friendships, through the mentorships, through the connections I've had with people, it's really challenged my own biases, my own beliefs, and my own internal, I've really had a lot of internal reflection. And it's been great kind of leaning on people that are there, kind of understanding kind of what, what it's like to be in this position, and how much growth we actually go through, being in a master's program and having a lot of self-reflection. And so that's been such a great experience. So these are just the references from earlier. And that's it. I've had a really great experience of reaching out to community members and networking, talking to people who are just as passionate as I am. I think initially there was kind of a uncertainty around people who, are wanting to work with older adults, though may not necessarily be with mental health. There are a lot of people in the community within Traverse City that are very passionate about working with older adults, providing services for them, advocating for them. What do they need? Talking to them, not, making sure that they don't feel belittled or abandoned, especially as this population continues to grow. It's really imperative that we kind of make sure we forge ways in order to help them in any way possible. So this fellowship has definitely kind of given me the kick forward in order to really procure some of those networking opportunities, creating a resource guide, and getting out in the community so I can basically communicate these materials to older adults who are experiencing neurocognitive issues. So I really appreciate your time, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity.